Okay, 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, roll call, please, Wayne.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Bemble?
Here.
Mrs. Hett?
Here.
Mr. Krings?
Here.
Mrs. Medina?
Here.
Mrs. Rail?
Here.
Mrs. Lee?
Here.
Thank you, Maureen. We're going to start tonight's meeting with special recognition of district retirees. This is one of the coolest things we get to do during our year. So we have several retirees with us tonight. And start with Mary Murtis. Is Mary here? Okay. Then we will get Carol Katzmark. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Okay, Carol Katzmark has held several positions with Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools in her 34-year career here, with her latest role being that of a 5th grade teacher at Grant Elementary. She has served on several different district committees throughout her time here at WRPS. Carol has enjoyed working for WRPS and is looking forward to this next chapter in life. She plans to spend more time with family and friends and enjoy some time spent traveling. We appreciate all you have done for the students of WRPS over the years, Carol. Best wishes in your retirement.
Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of Tony Evers, State Superintendent of the Department of Public Instruction, this is presented to you in recognition of 34 years of commitment and service to the education and well-being of our young people. These contributions are acknowledged with this expression of grateful appreciation. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy Rapier? No? Hey? Jackie Weinhold. Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Every time he smiles.
Do you care what day it is?
Monday.
Do you care? Yeah.
Well, I was told that it's always a Saturday unless it's Sunday.
There you go. Jackie Weinhold has been with the Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools for a total of 27 years. She worked as a substitute in the district for 5 years and was then hired in 1996 as a reading recovery teacher. She taught 1st and 4th grades at Meade Elementary for 14 years. The last 6 years she has worked between Grove and Grant as a math interventionist. Some of the other leadership roles Jackie has taken on have included leadership teams at Meade and Grove. She was the co-leader for the match action team at Meade and the academic team at Grove. In addition, she leads family math nights and has assisted with family reading night. Jackie plans to enjoy some time getting away shortly after retiring from WRPS with a cruise and a Packer away game planned. She is also interested in working with the Boys and Girls Club to continue helping students. Jackie would like to wish her colleagues from Meade and Grove the best. She knows how much they support their students and feels privileged to have worked with all of them. Thank you, Jackie. We wish you all the best in your retirement. And from Tony Evers, in recognition of 22 years of commitment and service to the educational well-being of our young people, these contributions are acknowledged with this expression of grateful appreciation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Liz Ottery. Casey Marks. Hi, Casey. How are you? Casey Marks has worked for the Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools for 30 years at Washington Elementary as a special education teacher. Casey has served on the crisis team at Washington Elementary along with participation in several other committees. She has had 20 student teachers and several practicum students over the years, as well as spearheading and organizing the annual school-wide variety show for over 25 years. Casey enjoys reading, gardening, and puzzles. Her future plans include volunteering at Washington Elementary, spending time at the Southwood County Humane Society, and delivering library books to assisted living facilities. Most important, she plans to enjoy her grandchildren. Casey is grateful for the opportunity to build a career at the Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools rather than just have a job. Casey, we're grateful for your years of dedication to your students and wish you all the best in your retirement. And I'd like to say on a personal note, it was always a pleasure working with you as a representative of the Teachers Union. You're very insightful with what was going on with the teachers, and it was always good to hear, so thank you for that as well. And from Tony Evers, in recognition of 30 years of commitment and service to the educational well-being of our young people, these contributions are acknowledged with this expression of grateful appreciation. Enjoy your time. Margie. Another one that can stop smiling. Margie Dorhurst is retiring from WRPS after 33 years of employment here. She began as a speech-language pathologist at Meade, Vesper, and Head Start, serving for 15 years in this capacity. Margie then worked as an able learner staff development facilitator for 2 years at Meade and Grove, and finished out her career as the Meade Elementary Charter School principal, where she has been for the past 16 years. Some initiatives that Margie has been involved in over the years include teaching a variety of courses for teachers, writing grants, and helping to create and support a CLC and charter school. On a personal level, Margie enjoys camping, traveling, and spending time with her family. Margie is excited about possible future endeavors, including her plans to work with the Center for Responsive Schools to instruct teachers in the responsive classroom approach through workshop settings. Margie also wants to continue to support teachers in schools, especially those with underserved population. Additionally, Margie hopes to travel and spend some time with family and friends. Of her career here, Margie states, WRPS has given me so many opportunities. I can't say enough how great the staff, administration, school board, and families have been to work with over the years. You have established learning as the hub of Wisconsin Rapids and have created models for other schools and districts to follow. Margie, we appreciate all the contributions you have made over the years to support so many students and families in our district. Congratulations. We wish you all the best in your retirement. And from Tony Evers, in recognition of 33 years of commitment and service to the education and well-being of our young people, these contributions are acknowledged with this expression of grateful appreciation. Thank you. Enjoy.
John, I don't know, but these people all look too young to be retired.
And we're not getting any older. Well, thank you all for your years of service, and hope you all have a long and very successful and happy retirement. So these years of service are going to be impossible to make up for, but you know, younger people coming in. So thanks again. Okay, next we can move on to the minutes.
Okay, I would make a motion that the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of June 11th, the special Board of Education meeting closed session of June 11th, the special Board of Education meeting budget hearing of June 25th, and the special Board of Education meeting open and closed of June 25th. The approved is printed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of July 11th, the special Board of Education meeting closed session of July 11th, the special Board of Education meeting budget hearing of June 25th, and the special Board of Education meeting open and closed session meeting minutes of June 25th. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Comments from citizens and delegations. Do we have any citizens? Okay, we can move on to committee reports. John, Business Services.
Thank you, John. The Business Services met on Monday, July 2nd. We started our meeting at 6 p.m. and out of our meeting we have 5 consent agenda items. Does anybody want anything specifically held out? Okay, not hearing that, I will go into the first one. The first item is Chromebook purchases. As the district transitions to a 9-12 high school and 6-8 middle school, and the induction of the Wisconsin Personal Electronic Computing Device Grant. Phil was explaining to us it's time is right to try our transition to secondary schools to one-to-one computing model. Phil, our director of Bickelhoff, I guess I should say, the director of technology, was present to explain that the implementation is a multi-year project with hopefully by next year we will be fully one-to-one in our 9 through 12 high school. Currently, our 6 through 8 middle school will be one-to-one in all the core content areas. So the first item is that we're going to purchase 780 Chromebooks and storage carts with that to be present, used at the high school and at Rams to get us towards the goal of one-to-one. So the committee recommends, and I move, that we purchase the 780 Chromebooks and the storage carts from PDS at a cost of $181,737, which will be funded from the 18-19 district technology budget, the technology referendum budget, and the Wisconsin Personal Electronic Computing Grant for approval. Do we want to do each one separately, or do we
We'll do them
all
together,
together?
yes.
Do them all together again. The second item, our BS2, is a network software renewal, and what the committee recommends that I move that we purchase Gaggle Safety Management for Google and Google Drive backup services from Gaggle at a cost of $24,100, and that's going to be funded from the 18-19 district technology budget. Then what that basically is that software is used to monitor student emails and Google Drive contents. So what this will do is it helps, as Phil was explaining to us, that we monitor grades 3 through 12 on the Google Drive and all of the Gmail accounts. This software looks for different things of indications of bullying, self-harm, acts of violence, inappropriate content, and other potential safety threats. So what happens is if there's something that it finds, it'll notify Phil, and then he in turn will notify the proper principal, authority, whatever it might be, to further investigate what was on that particular thread or email. And the Gaggle also is used to back up staff Google Drives contests, as the Google Drive has become an integral part of our district. Then we have BS3, which is another computer purchase. So the committee recommends that I move the purchase of 38 desktop computers from Bytespeed at a cost of $26,030, which will be funded from the 18-19 district technology budget. And these are going to be used at the high school. These are computers for the high-end classes that are currently in room 124, and several computers that are need for upgrading, because the software has to be used with CAD design software, so they have to have the latest operating systems plus the extra memory to run this programming. And then BS4, this was staff software renewal. For over 10 years, the district has utilized Atomic Learning, which is now called Who Knew It, to provide training for our staff in various technology-related software programs. Who Knew It has evolved over the past several years to include more than just training on software. The platform now includes training for professional development, classroom management, which Kathy may be able to use that, and with new teachers, and the technology integration, trauma curriculum, specific training, engagement strategies, and the list goes on. The training is also available for students, parents, and community members for this software. So the committee recommends, and I move that we purchase the Who Knew It software program at a cost of $12,186.38, which will be funded from the 18-19 district technology budget and the technology referendum budget for approval.
Second.
Oh, one more yet, we're not done yet. We got BS5.
Oh, supplies.
BS5 is our annual supplies purchase update, and Ed had done a good job, along with his staff, of sending out multiple bids to different people, and he was explaining some of the products, and the floor wax and the cleaners have actually come back at cost lower than we were paying 2 to 3 years ago, so which is good. Part of that might have been that some of the competition is merged, and maybe made it a little more competitive, where they're not competing against each other, they're just doing that, along with the fact that Amazon is pricing some of this stuff at a much lower price, so they have to be competitive with the Amazon marketplace as well. So the committee recommends, and I move that we, the purchase of the 2018-19 school supplies as listed be recommended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve BS1 through BS5. Can we have a roll call, please, Marie?
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Mr. Bembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Krings?
Yes.
Mrs. Hett?
Yes.
Mrs. Rayo?
Yes.
Thank you, Marie.
You may remember my concern sometime back with each student having their own computer and getting into places that we don't want them. And Phil did mention, not only is that successful, that they're using the program that they're using is successful, but it's actually giving them some information on students who are having depression problems, referred to psychologists and that kind of stuff. So they actually monitor this to find out not only where they're going, but how they're doing.
and I was reassured by that. I still am a little afraid that a hot shot might get around and get in the wrong place, because some kids are good at that. But I was reassured that not only is it working, but it's been helpful.
And the balance of our meeting was a purchase update, the library software, fueled education for online virtual programs, Frontline, which is our time and attendance software. And then we had some payments of school districts for 4K open enrollment out. We also had a furniture update since Rams is adding a new addition. There was many furniture needs, and as Ed was explaining to us, and originally they wanted to try to reuse most furniture as they could, but at times it didn't make sense to put in used furniture into a new building just because of the age and the condition of a lot of it. So there was furniture purchased, such as tables, chairs, teacher workstations, storage cabinets, and furniture for student collaboration spaces. And the reason that had to be done is because of the long lead times and the need to have it in here before school opens. There was the purchase went out and we purchased it. We had also had an update on our phone from Phil as far as the Mitel phones. Our phones are becoming 6 to 7 to 8 years old in certain systems, and we only did a 1-year renewal at this time due to the fact that we are closing East and Vesper, and we didn't actually want to pay for those phones. So if we would have done a 3-year renewal, we would end up paying for all the phones we have here, and it didn't make sense at the time. So we'll readjust that and look at it again next year as far as going to a multi-year contract again. Then we had our annual efficiency exemption project, which we asked Dan that we probably, or Dan had also mentioned that we should move this with the annual meeting. This is the requirement by the state that we have a update on the efficiency projects. So we had the Lincoln High School project, which was approved. It's a 3-year project, and the project is in progress. The district lighting project, which was approved in December of 2017, and that's ongoing right now as far as throughout the district, and it's for many buildings they're almost done with that. And then the district energy project, which is currently going on at Lincoln in full force, and a couple of our other buildings, and those projects are all in progress. And with that, I move that we submit the remaining, I make the motion to submit the remaining minutes of our meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and second to approve the meeting minutes from the Business Service Committee of July 2nd, 2018. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, minutes are approved. Thank you, John. Move on to personnel. Sandy.
I'll do that, John,
Oh,
since I was
yes.
at the meeting.
Great.
Thanks. Personnel Service Committee met on Monday, July 2nd, 2018. There were 11 consent agenda items. Did anyone want any of those help out?
I'd like 7, 8, and 9.
Or mark it, I forget. Okay. The committee recommends that, and I move to approve PS1 for professional staff appointments as printed, PS2 for support staff appointments as printed, PS3, 3 professional staff resignations as printed, PS4, 2 support staff resignations as printed, at PS5, board policy 523.1 staff physical examination, second reading, PS6, language changes for the post-employment insurance benefit section of the employee handbook for professional staff as recommended in the July 2018 Personnel Services Committee agenda and background attachment B. And then we will go to PS10, the addition of a master swim program as presented, including the addition of 1 new master swim coach position effective August 1st, 2018, and compensated at 10% of the athletic base wage calculator to be paid out of Fund 80. And then PS11, the recurring supplemental wage increase of $3,000 for Kristen Schuneman beginning with the 2018-19 school year.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve PS1 through PS6 and PS10 and 11. We have roll call, please, Marie?
Mr. Krings?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Bembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Mrs. Rail?
Yes.
Mrs. Hett?
Yes.
Thank you, Maureen.
Okay, so you want me to just go through each one, or did you want to?
My concern with 7, 8, and 9 is we have the possibility of adding on 6 additional people. And like I voiced my concern last month is that we've been adding something here, something there, 5,000 here, 6,000 there, 3,000 here. You know, what is this going to be doing to the budget in a year? So what I want to know is after 1 year, what has been the impact of our budget on these 3 athletic co-curricular positions? We just, upped what the base was, and we did that for athletic and non-athletic. So I just think, we could be in a little world of hurt perhaps if we don't watch what we're doing. So that's my concern, is that we have a full report of this on a year to see what it's done to the budget.
And we'll do that, Sandy, with no problem. I'd point to the fact that with the exception of PS7, which is an addition of a new program, Middle School Boys Swim, which is a very strong interest program. We also offer Middle School Girls Swim program. So that's new, and that will be a new cost, 5% of base plus a 4% of base position every time we run the season. With reference to the track coaching positions, in addition to the cross-country coaching positions, those are largely based on student numbers, and I would argue specifically for track, cross-country is slightly different, but specifically for track, we're reverting back to a circumstance that actually was only like a couple years ago. This last year was the 1 year that we went where I would argue an assistant track coach position was kind of inadvertently eliminated as a result of an inability to fill it from the year prior. So it went unfilled, and then ultimately it was eliminated as we made some modifications to that structure. When they came back at it, the coaches were like, hold up a second, because we ran into a circumstance this year where 2 track coaches shared a position, which could have been, or technically should have been, an assistant coach and assistant coach, two positions. I bring that up to give you that background, in addition to say that these, for track in particular, are based on numbers. So it's up to that number of coaching positions, and if we don't have the student athletes to warrant it, we're not going to have the positions. So there may or may not be a budget impact. For example, you could have 20 boys go out and you probably only have 2 coaching positions. You could have 110 girls out, 110 girls go out, and then you need all 6. So it will be based on numbers, which might provide some kind of tough to comparison, some factors that we'll throw in there, but absolutely can provide you that rationale. And with cross country, it's technically only the addition of 1 position, 1.4% position, and it's a restructure, because currently there was a head coach and an assistant coach, and that's being split into a head and 2 assistants. The head will kind of manage the program, 1 boys assistant and 1 girls assistant. So it's technically 1 new 4% position. There too, numbers based to a degree. So.
And wasn't there something with the cross-country that they didn't have a girls?
Yeah.
Someone committed to the girls cross-country, but the numbers have increased. And
Correct.
Okay.
But still, we need, the impact on the
Yeah,
budget.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll just take them all together, or you want me to do each one separate? Okay, I'll do them all together. Okay, then I would move to approve PS7, new athletic co-curricular coaching positions for a middle school boys swim program to include a head coach position at a 5% pay rate and an assistant coach position at a 4% pay rate, with the assistant coach position to be filled only as needed on a year-to-year basis, depending on student athlete participation numbers in the middle school swim program, beginning with the 2018-19 school year. PS8, with the addition of two new athletic co-curricular coaching positions for the high school track program, beginning with the 2018-19 school year, to allow 1 additional assistant track coach at a 5% pay rate for girls track and 1 additional assistant track coach at a 5% pay rate for boys track, to be filled only as needed on a year-to-year basis, depending on student athlete participation numbers in the high school track program. And PS9, the addition of 1 new athletic co-curricular coaching position for the high school cross-country program, beginning with the 2018-19 school year, to allow 1 additional assistant cross-country coach at a 5% pay rate.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve PS7, 8, and 9. We have roll call, please, Maureen?
Mrs. Rail?
Yes.
Mrs. Hett?
Yes.
Mr. Krings?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Bembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Maureen?
Okay, and with that, I would make a motion to approve the Personnel Services Committee meeting minutes of July 2nd, 2018.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the committee meeting minutes of the Personnel Services Committee of July 2nd, 2018. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Mary.
Could we, I'm sorry to jump in on you, and I'm not sure if you were going to get to it, John, so if you were, I apologize, but could we have a separate motion to approve the minutes from the June 28th Director of HR interviews, just for posterity's sake?
Yep.
Thank you. And if you were going to do it, I apologize, I didn't want to forget.
We're sitting here. I'm not sure if I'd have seen it, but it was here.
Yeah, I've got it here too, so. I would make a motion to approve the June 28th Special Personnel Services Committee minutes concerning
Closed session.
the closed session meeting minutes. I'll second that.
Okay, we have motion and second to approve the closed session meeting minutes of July 28th, 2018. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved.
I'd also like to say, I just remembered when the Master Swim program was here, is that I went over to drop off my wife's application for the swim program. And when I walked into the pool area, there had to be about 150 kids in the whole pool area, which I don't know if it was open swim or swim, it must have been part of it was swim lessons, because I knew some of the parents were standing in the hallway because it was so humid in the swimming area, they wanted to be in the air conditioning. But that pool was just full of activity. It was so nice to see, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback about that pool. I know my brother-in-law swims there, and he says he just can't believe how nice the water is, and you can see the clock without having to worry about being in lane 2, because before you had to be in lane 2 because he wore glasses and he couldn't wear them when he was swimming. So now you can see the clock from any lane, so he can swim in any lane.
Well, I don't remember the number of people in the Master Swim program that had signed up, but I was amazed.
Yeah, right, a lot.
It was, I don't know.
I don't recall the number, but it was very surprising how many
Yes.
people are taking advantage of that. So it's wonderful that pool's being used.
It is, yeah, it was phenomenal to see all those people in there.
Just so they don't change the diving regulations up or down. We'll be fine.
WIA leave us alone for quite a few years.
Well, even the number of the young ones in the, junior highland.
We've got an extra
Yeah.
foot to play with, so I think.
Yeah, well, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the Educational Services Committee. Ann.
Thank you, John. The Educational Services Committee met also on July 2nd, and we began at 6:33. There was no public comment, and we had 2 consent agenda items. Does anyone want either of those held out? Okay, so we will start with the middle school level participation in WIAA sports activities. Craig Braun, our superintendent, explained that the district is in receipt of a request for an area private school student in grade 7 to participate in the middle school football program in the upcoming 2018-19 school year. It was noted that only requests for co-curriculars that are not available at their home school can be considered. And the middle school athletic director would be responsible to ensure all requirements are met by the student and the private school involved. Students from other schools would be expected to sign and abide by the athletic code, and no special transportation would be provided by WRPS. It was further noted that the school the student attends would also need to be a member of the WIAA. So we recommend approval for any middle school students attending a private school to participate in WIAA middle school sports beginning in the 2018-19 school year and beyond, provided all necessary WIAA membership and eligibility requirements are met.
Can I ask this question? When we talked about eligibility requirements, does that include the athletic code? Or
Yes.
And what about somewhere indicating that no special transportation be provided?
So the transportation would be, as it would be for any of our other athletes, which would be to and from the bats.
Right, but I mean from the private school to wherever.
That'd be the student's responsibility.
Right, but does that need to be said somewhere?
I think it was.
It's in the background here that they break it out after requirements. And I'm just
Whatever you're comfortable
Well,
with.
I mean, are they going to know that? Are they going to assume it, or?
It'll be communicated.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Then we'll go on to pupil academic standards pursuant to section 120.12 13 and section 118.30 1GA1 of the Wisconsin State Statutes. Districts are required to provide notification surrounding pupil academic standards. Kathy Stebbins-Hintz, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, explained that Attachment A is the updated notice for the 2018-19 school year and reviewed changes. And so approval of the pupil academic standards set out in Attachment A that will be in effect for the 2018-19 school year. So I move, the committee recommends, and I move that ES1 and ES2 be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ES1 and ES2. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Then we went on to some updates for the remainder of our agenda. The first one was the Achievement Gap Reduction, or AGR, end-of-year report. Kathy Stebbins-Hintz shared the end-of-year AGR report from the 2017-18 school year. WRPS meets the requirements of the AGR contract with tutoring, math and reading interventions, academic coaches in educator effectiveness, and in several K through 3 classrooms, the 18-to-1 class size requirement. Then we went on to the technology update, and Phil Bickelhoff, Director of Technology, presented an update to the committee highlighting one-to-one initiatives, instructional technology infrastructure, the Canvas Learning Management System pilot, and the Wisconsin Instructional Technology Literacy Standards. He shared a presentation explaining the status of technology in the district, the direction the district is heading, and the goals of the technology department. With referendum funds nearly depleted, equipment at its end of life, and technology as an integral part of instruction, how the district supports future technology needs will be an ongoing discussion. And then we also were updated on student travel, and Kathy Stebbins-Hintz updated the committee on student travel. And with that, the committee recommends, and I move that we approve the remainder of the Educational Services Committee minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes of the Educational Service Committee of July 2nd, 2018. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Dan.
John, I'd like to point out, as far as part of that technology update, Phil was telling us about what's remainder in his budget, basically from that technology. After the spending that we had approved this year, he figures there would be about $200,000 left from that 2006 referendum, which was 12 years ago, and I believe the original amount was $3.85 million. So $3.85 million of that referendum was for technology, and through the 12 years, both curriculum with Kathy's group and in the technology part with Phil's group, they have used that money judiciously and not spent it all at once. So for the money of that approval that the district voters approved to give us that technology and referendum, and as far as for curriculum and books and that type of thing, this district's done a good job with that money as far as using it wisely and using it when we need it. And hopefully it's going to have to be where we're going to probably go a referendum again to get technology money and curriculum money to keep us going for another 10 to 12 years. So I just like to commend those people and our administrative team for how well they use the money from the public referendums that we do get. So thank you.
Very true. Thanks, John.
Craig, have there been referendums successful doing technology as a main component?
Yes.
Yeah, I looked it up, like 25% of them were for some sort of technology and curriculum. Out of the last 2 election periods, I went through the WASB stuff, or
Of
EDI
those-
stuff.
Of those, 75 to 80% were successful,
Right.
statistically speaking. Yep.
Okay, we can move on to agenda referrals, information requests. Anybody have anything this month? Okay, legislative agenda. John, is there any news?
Only thing out there is there was another wave of approvals for the safety grants, which we have not been picked yet. I was discussing that with
It's such a good,
Craig in the beginning, as far as there was no rhyme or reason on how they're doing this approval process.
there's money left over.
I've noticed that the whole central Wisconsin area has not really gotten a lot of approvals. So I don't know what it is, but
We know as of today ours is being reviewed, because I got an email from the grant reviewer, I think was the title of the gentleman, asking for some clarification. So we're in process.
so other than that, there was basically nothing on the WASB front other than the safety grants, and that is just the announcement, and there's a listing, if you want to go to the site, there's a listing of the 52 schools that gets approved, but the closest one to us would be Greenwood. Too quiet. Other than that, there's nothing in central Wisconsin that got approved.
I'm not sure I don't know the selection process or how they're picking, which ones they're picking, but I don't think that there's any concern that we will not get the grant dollars. I don't think that that's the underlying deal. And having gone through, I think I read today that they've already issued approvals to 200 and some school districts, or 200 and some requests, I should say. And so with over 400 and some requests, they're making pretty decent progress for a deadline being June 8th. It's not, we'd love to have known by June 10th, but I think we're going to be okay. Timeline-wise, my concern would be how quick, being that we're going to be at least mid-pack or later. And part of the caveat on the primary funding in particular is getting these things done within the time frame of the 18-19 school year. I'm getting a little nervous about that piece, just because these folks doing this, yes, are going to be clearly, busy. So I'm hoping that doesn't change our time frame, but that's really my biggest concern. But I do think we're going to get the dollars, and I do think it'll be by the majority of what we asked for, what we were eligible for, which is basically what we asked for. So.
Okay, move on to the bills then.
Okay, I would make a motion that the receipts be noted and the bills be paid as printed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that the receipts be noted and bills paid as printed. We have roll call, please, Mary.
Mrs. Hett?
Yes.
Mr. Bembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Rail?
Yes.
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Krings?
Yes. Thank you, Maureen. Okay, move on to new business. Item A, possible action on employee appointments, resignations, and retirement requests.
And we have none.
Okay. Item B, discussion and possible action concerning annual board salary compensation, including consideration of board policy 164, board member compensation and expenses.
Yeah, and Maureen was kind enough to provide you with all kinds of background information relevant to why you see it on the agenda here tonight. And the first question that I have for you to contemplate is this something that you want to review on an annual basis? And if the answer to that question is yes, then when do you want to do it? It might make sense that we incorporate it into our budget hearing meeting, our reorganization meeting. I misspoke, I was thinking about a prior conversation, but simply because it's a decent opportunity to just simply look at the policy, are we fine with the compensation level, any tweaks need to be made, and it would be an okay time then to onboard a new board member if there would be anybody that was newly elected. There's no requirement that it be reviewed annually. In your request that it be reviewed annually, excuse me, at least annually on the short term was because it was a new protocol. So that's ultimately the large question. The first question is, do you want to see it annually? If so, when? And then the secondary and the primary question is, the secondary but most important question is, are we comfortable with how it's been working? I think from our perspective, business office-wise, It's easier, it's more streamlined for us. I think it's less record keeping and so forth, but it's not as though the alternative method was a hardship. But this is absolutely much more pared down. But if it's functional for you folks and so forth, that's kind of that's topic 2.
Fine with me.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
had any issues with it.
Fine with me too. If we do look at it, I mean, it wouldn't take long just to do it at the reorganizational meeting. If there is a question, might as well just do it that way.
100%. So seeing it annually is a good idea?
Yep.
Very
No.
good. We'll do it at the reorg meeting.
Okay,
That is it then. Thank you.
thank you. That's all we have under new business. So if we look at the calendar, when this meeting's over, we have a closed session meeting. And I think today we got emails about meeting with transportation providers
Yes,
with some dates, a couple weeks out.
it just happened today.
So that'll be later this month, and that'll be it then until August for our committee meeting. So that we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, wait.